I was a scaredy cat as a kid. I was always scared my parents will just ditch me in the middle of a walk, and I couldn't be in the same room with my sister when she played in the computer because the music was creepy for me. And whenever I watched Dora the Explorer, I'd run away when Sniper did the sound. So anyway, my sister was always the biggest fan of horror games in our household, so she did introduce me to most of these. And the first one was Doki Doki Literature Club. My sister, I'll just call her BC again, had a friend that introduced her to the game. And soon enough, she also started playing it. But the only computer we have in our house is in the living room, and if you know DDLC, you probably know it shouldn't be played around tiny children. And at least at the time when she got it, my brother and I were in fact tiny children that would not enjoy the sight of Yuri covering herself in ketchup. But I was a curious little goblin back then, and I insisted BC will tell me about it. Either that or she just started talking about it one day and I just rolled with it. I don't remember. I do remember, however, this one time we were both on the couch and she was on her phone watching something DDLC related. She caught me looking at it and warned me there was gonna be a jump scare ahead, so I should look away. But I was a curious little goblin. I already said that. I looked anyway, and it wasn't that scary. It was like a loud sound with a corrupt image of Monica. Be proud of me, I wrote that with a K. I mean, yeah, it startled me, but it wasn't that bad. I think that was the moment I realized maybe I could handle horror games. I didn't really want to play DDLC though, because it's not really my style. But from what I know from information from my sister and the internet, I think, and DDLC fandom, do not kill me please, I think that if you like DDLC, you might like Yandere Simulator. Don't trust me on that, I could be horribly wrong, and if that is true, DDLC fandom, please correct me and roast me in the comments, I'm very sorry. And even though the game itself isn't really my style, I do like seeing videos about it, like some kind of analysis video or theory video or something like that. For example, this video by the channel Tail Foundry talking about the fifth wall. No, not the fourth, the fifth. I really like their channel actually, I highly recommend it. The music isn't my favorite, but BC will occasionally play it even though she's not really into the fandom anymore. And on that note, we're moving on to the next one, an extremely underrated one in both mine and BC's opinions. Omori. Omori is about this kid named Sunny who accidentally killed his older sister Mari. The two siblings were musically gifted, but Sunny got really tired of Mari's little notes about his violin playing skills, and I'm not gonna say anything more. Anyway, after that incident, you, or Sunny, locked yourself in your room and lost all contact with the real world. That includes your friends. So your parents, or your mom at least, decide to move somewhere else and kind of like start over. But the guilt of killing Mari and then lying to everyone about it, saying she killed herself, is still with you. And that guilt kind of like materializes in the form of this creature named Something. The basic gameplay of Omori is that Sunny goes to sleep, and you, as him, go on adventures in Dream World, which is basically the real world if nothing bad ever happened with Mari. Or anyone for that matter. You go on cool adventures with all your friends, with your trauma slowly showing more and more, and fight all these little silly creatures, like sprout moles. I don't know why, I never really liked them. But you also, have a life outside of the dreams. So from time to time you'll wake up and have to do stuff in the real, depressing, sad world where Aubrey's hair is pink and Basil doesn't have his flower crown. So I didn't actually play it yet, but I will eventually, and I have seen a lot of playthroughs. BC also introduced me to Omori, and not gonna lie, at first I didn't actually care for it, but after seeing the first playthrough, I think it was Ike Eveland, I kinda got hooked. I will never look at stairs the same way. Or watermelons. I'm gonna stop here. Most of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, so. Anyway, go play it. The next two horror games were actually made by the same company, Franbo and Little Misfortune. Both these horror games were created by the company Kill Monday Games, and I love them both so much. I think they're kinda like point-and-click video games, but not for kids. And I also think it's a common agreement that they both take place in the same universe, because you can see stuff from Franbo appearing in Little Misfortune, like the Pinecone people or even Edward. I really like this theory because I really like both these games. Franbo is about this young, curious girl trying to find her black cat, Mr. Midnight, and the person who killed her parents, like Batman. No, wait, wrong superhero, I think. Never mind. I'm not gonna spoil much because I've already spoiled a lot of Amori, but you should know that it's very creative and funny. My favorite character is Fran herself, but there aren't many characters to choose from, so I might just be basic. This time, I was the one to introduce BC to this game, so that's 1 point for me. But quickly arguing the point, it does seem like BC introduced me to Little Misfortune. I don't care though, it's a very good game. Once she introduced me to it, I was a bit more into horror, so I played it with her. It's honestly amazing, and I will protect Misfortune at all costs. Yes, Misfortune is her actual name. Just watch the game. This game doesn't feature as much gore and blood as Friend Bo does, but be not confused. This is not a kid's game. There are some heavy subjects like addiction or death and all that, but the game does approach it with a respectable amount of humor. Also, Misfortune cusses. And yeah, she's 8. Moving on. Right, this next one is not a horror game, but I can make another video about normal games I like, because I don't know all that many normal video games. So, without further ado, you probably know it, and if you do, you probably love it. Undertale by Toby Fox. My favorite characters are Papyrus and Manaton. Papyrus is a precious little bean, and I will never play Genocide purely because that means I had to kill him. And our boy Manaton is just literally a drag queen. Death by Glamour is so damn good. Undertale is about a human kid named Frisk falling down Mount Ebott, which is a mountain humans trapped monsters in long time ago. So when you fall in, you have a choice to make. Kill or not. If you choose not to mercilessly kill everyone in your path, you get the good ending. Basically, you help this flower guy understand he's freaking stupid and you break the barrier, which is the thing that kept monsters underground for all this time. All the friends that you made stand on the top of the mountain and look at the sunset, then proceed to ride straight into society, where they will probably get killed because 2 of them are literally talking skeletons, and the other is a fish lady. But you can also choose to kill everyone in your path and get the bad ending. The flower guy is back again, and he's like, no, I don't want to die, sad face, and you see this person named Kara. They were the first human to fall to the underworld, and they're a complete psychopath. So basically, they go like, yo man, great job killing everyone, give me your soul, so I can destroy this world forever. So you can choose to do that or not. The soundtrack of this game goes harder than anything in my life. My sister tells me Toby Fox actually only made like 6 or 7 originals and kind of like just put them at different speeds, and if that is true, oh my god, the guy is talented. The fandom is lovely, Sans is cool, Undyne and Alphys were meant for each other, and Papyrus's canonly arroways changed my mind. Again, this is not a horror game, but like, don't let a kid play it. Flowey in his non-pixelated form can be a bit disturbing. Still, no jump scares to be afraid of. Go listen to the soundtrack already! Okay, listen, this next one is also not a horror game, but like, I can make a whole separate video just for 2 video games I like that aren't horror. Thank goodness you're here. It's British. It's about this young fella going to a town called Barnsworth and helping out the citizens while waiting for his meeting with the mayor. The humor is the best part. It's mature and it's the kind that will make you giggle at 3 a.m. My favorite character is, I think, Jasper, or maybe Frank. I just get a vibe from him, I don't know. I do have a question though. This guy is Colin, and this girl is Florence, and they are in love. But when Colin daydreams about Florence while he's working, his boss tells him to stop daydreaming about his cousin. And I still can't understand if that's a joke or not. No one else in town says they're cousins, and like, everyone seems chill about them liking each other, but it just stuck in my head. Are they cousins? If someone could please explain me this family tree, I would be very grateful, because I also can't understand who Florence's dad is. I think it might be this guy. His name is Raj. A bit later into the game, he talks with this guy named Ron about his daughter, who is also named Florence, and the description seems to match this Florence. Also, they're both ginger, so I think there might be some genetic logic working here. Or, you know what, there might just be another girl in this town named Florence. And now, the best for last, my favorite horror game so far, Sally Face. Okay, first of all, this ain't a girl. This is a manly man with a thing down there. He isn't trans or anything, he just likes them pigtails. Well, he changed it when he got older, but like, he looks good in everything. Yes, he is my favorite character, along with Larry and Gizmo, but that goes without saying. Sally Face is about this young boy named Sal Fisher. He just moved out of New Jersey with his dad, after his mom died from getting shot by a man with a dog-faced mask. That accident is also what made Sal's face all messed up. No one believes Sal when he says that's what happens because he's like 12. Anyway, you start the game with Sal talking to whatever this abomination is. Turns out he is a psychiatrist named Dr. Enon. You can probably notice Sal is wearing prison clothes and his mask is on the table. Dr. Enon asks Sal to tell him about the body, and just like that, it's flashback time. We go back to Sal at about 15 years old. He just moved out of New Jersey with his dad, and they rented this apartment and the building called Addison Apartments. Original. Sal wants to go around meeting all his neighbors, so that's what he does, and along the way he meets all these special types. Special. Anyway, he eventually meets Lisa, the building's janitor, in an amazing little cinnamon roll. She tells him about her son, Larry, and says they might be good friends. So Sal goes down to the basement to meet Larry, they vibe to some metal tracks, and they're best friends now. So, a bit earlier that day, Sal saw a police officer in front of one of the apartments, and he asks Larry about it, and he immediately gets kind of like protective. He says that a murder occurred in that apartment, and he thinks that the murderer is still in the building. He tried to tell that to the police, but they don't believe him. He also swears that he can get some evidence about the murderer himself if he can only get him to the apartment. So because Sal is his best friend for life right now, he asks him if he can do it, while he distracts the policeman. Larry sends out a fake call, and the policeman is now not guarding the door anymore, so Sal can get in. And once he's in, he finds these little, action figures. It looks like this. Ponies. And when he tells Larry about them, he immediately calls him back to the basement. He tells Sal he suspects the killer might be Charlie, this guy from another apartment, and honestly, wouldn't be surprising if he was, right? I mean, like, look at him. Larry says that Charlie and the woman who got murdered, Mrs. Anderson, both collected those little figures. And because Mrs. Anderson had a figure Charlie doesn't, he got jealous of a pony and decided to kill her. Okay. Sal goes over to Charlie's apartment and distracts him with tea, like the true British man that he is, and he spots one of the figures with blood on it. He puts it in a plastic baggie and quickly rushes to one of the detectives in the building and gives them the pony as evidence. They quickly arrest Charlie, and now we can leave the building. So we do that, and we see Charlie in a police car, screaming that he's innocent and all that, but we don't really care about that, do we? So we continue, and we see an ambulance. Because no one really stopped us, we look inside the ambulance and spot the dead corpse of Mrs. Anderson. The flashback ends, and we go back to Sal next to Dr. Enon. The doctor said their time is up, and Sal re-wears his mask. Two guards take him away, and Dr. Enon tells him he doesn't think he's a murderer. Sal responds with, "You might be the only one," and we cut to black. I went way too much into detail in this one, but it's just because I love this game so much. So to make sure this video is not gonna be 3 hours long, I'm gonna stop here and just say the soundtrack is amazing, and go watch someone play it. It's a good game. Okay, bye.